Welcome to I'll Marry You, a podcast with me, Olivia Coleman, full of tips and tricks from the UK wedding scene, interviews with industry experts, and a whole lot of oversharing. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, and welcome to another episode of the I'll Marry You podcast with moi, Olivia Coleman. I'm intrigued to know whether you're watching or listening. Oh, I just poked myself in the eye with a bloody mascara wand. Oh! I'm all right. Because, you know, if I'm going to the effort of putting some slap on for you and getting dressed, then I want to know if that's actually a waste of my time or not. Yesterday, I thought to myself, I've really let myself go in this pregnancy. I really have. And I was messaging my friend Sam, who is an exceptional chef and caterer, and we've just booked in for him to be on the podcast soon. But I was messaging him and I was saying to him, I've really let myself go, Sam. And the parents on the school run are not going to know what to do with themselves when I've given birth, lost a little bit of the old timber, and actually, take pride in my appearance. They're not going to recognise me. Because it's true, I have. It's winter. It's autumn. It's hibernation season, and we're in the 10-week stretch now. Stretch being the operative word. 10 weeks to go till due date, even though she's going to be a little bit early, and so it's all becoming quite uncomfortable. I'm becoming quite miserable. The other night, I got into bed and cried because the car seat that I bought didn't fit the pram that we have. And my husband, who's actually been quite wonderful these last 2 days, got out of bed at 10 o'clock at night and went downstairs and went outside to test it. And of course, he got it to fit, didn't he? Bloody men. So it's all very emotional at the moment. I'm very emotional. It's all lots of tears and tiredness and things. But apart from that, all is well. I hope you've all had a good week. I had a wonderful weekend, actually. I had a planning meeting with a gorgeous couple who are getting married quite soon. They're getting married in a matter of weeks, in fact. And normally my planning meetings are... Well, I've been having planning meetings recently for March and April weddings. So normally they are a fair few months in advance, but we couldn't do it until nearer the time. So we met recently, and actually I quite like that because then I write it straight afterwards and it's all very fresh in my mind, and then it's not long until I see them on the day itself. So I quite like that. So they're gorgeous. I mean, they're physically gorgeous, but reading their questionnaires and writing their ceremony is about 3.5 weeks before I'm due. And I messaged her and said, look, I've written your ceremony, I'll send it over shortly, but I'm just letting you know that even if I give birth before your ceremony, I'm attaching that baby to the tit and carrying on, because I have to be there. I have to deliver this ceremony. I have been sensible, and I have contacted my other celebrant friends with my final few dates, because I think I've told you this, but my last wedding ceremony before I'm due is 2 weeks prior to my due date. And again, I desperately want to be there. So even though I have now got a backup, just in case, I'm hoping that all will be well. I'm going to wear a nappy. And I'm thinking, maybe do I need a lectern or something in front of me? Because basically, if my waters break, that's the only thing that I worry about. If I start having contractions, I'm a mother and a woman. I can hide that pain. I'm very stoic. So if I start having contractions, I'll be fine. I'll just be like, oh my God, he loves you so much, and burst into song, because you can hide anything with a random tune. But if my waters break and it's like a full-on gush, that's going to be hard to hide, isn't it? Imagine, oh my God, I just thought about it. Imagine if my waters break and like onto her like Jimmy Choos or something. This is incredibly stressful, but I'm going to cope with it. I'm all right. Anyway, so that's me. That's this week. The weekend just gone, in fact. we did something that's very risky for a couple. Anal. No, it's not anal. We went to IKEA. Close. We went to IKEA as a family. If given the choice, do not go to IKEA on a weekend. What are you, a sadist? But we had no choice because my husband won't take a day off, which makes me sound like a bitch, but it's his own bloody business to take a day off, babe. Do you know what I mean? But he wouldn't take a day off. So we had to, there's a man doing some handiwork outside. It's very often the way on this street. So we had to go to IKEA on Saturday to get some baby bits and furniture and all this stuff. You know, I'm nesting. And to go to IKEA with your loved one on a weekend, I believe, is a real test to any relationship. And we went with Lola. So a couple, a pregnant woman, her tired husband, who's a little bit grumpy, I'm not going to lie, and a 4.5-year-old who wasn't feeling great. It was a real risky game. We started at the cafe, obviously, because you've got to fuel. But actually, we didn't fight. I had no tongue left by the end of it because of the amount of times I'd bitten my tongue. And I could have cried in the bathroom section, but generally it went well. And we didn't fight. So I was really proud of us. And ever since then, he's been ever so attentive. I don't know why. Do we think he's having an affair? Could be. Takes the heat off me, doesn't it? Anywho, that's my week. And I hope you've all had a wonderful week. And I'm very excited for... God, look at the size of me. I'm very excited for this episode. So I'll lead right into it. It is an interview with an industry expert. Enjoy. I forgot to tell you, Drew's going to tell me off. Sorry, producer Drew, I forgot to tell you. Memberships. Where the bloody hell are you? Where are my members? Where are my throbbing members? Don't forget to sign up. There's a link on the YouTube bio and in all the streaming services, all the bios on my social media. My Instagram is not that Olivia Coleman and I'll Marry You podcast. Sign up to become a member. And there are 2 memberships. You can either sign up just to join the WhatsApp group where you'll meet all other engaged people and share advice and tips and stories and everything else. And I will be there on the group as well. Or you can pay a little bit more money and we will have a monthly Zoom call with alcohol. In 10 weeks' time, I will be drinking alcohol. Maybe before. It's Christmas! So don't forget, if you're a fan of the podcast, we would so appreciate your support. Sign up and become one of my favourite members. My only favourite members. Right. Welcome to another episode of the I'll Marry You podcast. And we have got an interview with Ollie from Filmed on Phones. And I don't know, Ollie says he's listened to a couple of episodes. I don't believe him. But if you have listened to a couple of episodes, Ollie, then you will know that I don't do a lot of research because I like it to be organic, you know, and authentic. But I like to ask the questions as I think other people would ask them. So I know a little, but I don't know a lot. So I'm excited to get into it. So it's Filmed on Phones. You're Ollie. And the first question, it's really hard hitting. The first question I want to know is how on earth did you come up with the name?
Well, so it's quite self-explanatory, but we actually had a different name to start with. We used to be called FIY Wedding, which was Film It Yourself Wedding.
Oh, clever.
Like DIY, but FIY. But people just got confused. It's quite a unique concept, so it requires a bit of explanation. So then we ended up rebranding after a few months because I needed something that was just as clear as possible. Filmed on phones, that's what it is. There's still the element that's left unexplained of that it's the guests that film on their phones, not us. But the name hopefully gives you half the way there to what we do.
I do think you have to. I got into trouble in an old job for saying this too often, that people are stupid, but people are stupid.
They are.
When you come up with, not my listeners, when you come up with branding and marketing and all that stuff, I do think you have to do it for the simplest of minds.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and another problem we've had is that my brother lives in the US, and apparently in America they don't really use the word filmed in the way that we do. Like, it's a normal
What
word
do you
here,
mean?
right? Like,
Yeah.
a film is associated with like a roll of film, but they don't say like you film something.
What do they say? Record?
Yeah, or video, or but so when I have actually done a wedding in the US, but one day I'd like us to be international, and then I'm going to have to cross that bridge and maybe have a different
aim high, Ollie.
Together. Yeah,
aim high.
Absolutely, of course.
So, right, tell me about yourself. Where are you? What age, sex, location? ASL. You look too young to know ASL.
No, I do. I know that. I don't think anyone's asked me that since I played on Habbo Hotel about 20 years ago.
Since you had a Bebo account.
I had a Bebo account. Yeah, I'm old enough for that.
You're a millennial. Okay, we've covered that.
So age 30.
Yeah.
Sex male. Location Stockport, so just south of Manchester.
Okay, I did notice a twang.
A slight twang, yeah.
Only slight though, which is good.
Don't want it to be too strong.
No, I can understand you. And how long have you been? How did you even get into the filming, wedding stuff? Like, take me all the way back to the beginning. Any daddy issues we can talk about? I want to know it all.
So it actually originated from our wedding. It's myself and my wife that run the business, Shona, and we got married in 2022, so just over 2 years ago.
Nice.
And at our wedding, we kind of did a version of filmed on phones where we asked our friends to video stuff on their phones, and then I collected up all their footage, which was a bit of a pain, but
I bet.
Our service kind of makes that easy for people now. And yeah, I made a great video from it. And it was just, the video was just so good because it was like, you get so many things that I don't think a videographer would normally capture, like people messing around, saying stupid shit at the end of the night to the camera, and loads of fun moments like that. And so, yeah, we did it at our wedding, and then we just thought, you know what? Other people would like this. Like, it's not quite like anything else that existed at the time. So then we kind of just went for it. I have a background in marketing, web design, that sort of stuff. So I was able to build the website myself. And
so you were quite tech savvy to begin with.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a techie guy. I don't think I've ever had microphone issues quite as catastrophic as the ones you had at the start of, before recording. But
I'm not a tech person, and like I said to you and producer Drew, you have to bear in mind that everything I do, I'm carrying human life in me. I can't even every movement rather is an effort. So before your wedding, you had a full-time job. What were you doing before the wedding?
Yeah, I worked in marketing for a small business, basically. Nothing too glamorous.
And tell me about your wedding.
So our wedding was extremely DIY. It was in a barn, but when we viewed it, there were literally cows in the barn. So a very real cow barn.
Oh my God.
And the smell of shit, I presumed that because they kind of like block it out in summer, they clear it all out and do weddings just over the summer period. And I presumed the smell would go away. I didn't really, but you do get used to it after being there for about 10, 15 minutes. So it all worked out fine.
It's rustic. It's rustic, isn't it?
Well, no, yeah. But it was a really perfect day. Like, everything went so unbelievably smoothly. And yeah, very DIY, as I say. We did a lot of stuff ourselves, like the video. Did you have a photographer? Yes. Did you have a videographer? No. So therein lies the gap, Ollie. Well, yeah. So I do have a bit of a background doing video editing. Like, I've done a few wedding videos and stuff for friends and family in the past, and obviously working in marketing has always involved bits of video editing. So initially I was like, I need a videographer. Like, that's the one thing that I really want to get. Shona had a long list of all the things she wanted. All I was bothered about was the videographer. Yeah. But then the more I thought about it, I actually decided I didn't actually want a professional videographer, and I value the work that videographers do. So I don't mean this. I don't want to say anything bad about videographers. Yeah. But for us, we kind of just wanted it to be a bit more casual, a bit more relaxed, but we still wanted to have those like moments to look back on video. So we had a really good photographer, Jen Garlick, she's called, based around us. And she was fantastic. But then for the video stuff, we just asked our friends to film bits.
So you literally just said, can you film stuff? And then what, you sort of WhatsApped them afterwards and said, send me over what you got?
Pretty much, yeah. So I was quite like regimented with it. So I said like, right, I want you.
Sounds fun.
Yeah. I want you to build the ceremony, you to do the speeches. And I wanted to split it up so there wasn't like one person has to do everything and has a really stressful day. So we gave like 1 or 2 tasks to individuals, and had at least 2 people on all the main things. So it wasn't going to, you know, so one person didn't have the stress of like, I have to capture the ceremony and I'm the only person doing it. I
mean, you've taken it already from, I'm just imagining you on your wedding day. You've taken it already from like, oh, would you mind just filming a few silly drunken bits or just a bit of fun too? Right. Karen, you're on ceremony. Okay. I want you at the left angle. These poor guests, they must really love you.
Well, no, but the thing is they actually do because well, they're my friends
they actually do love me.
no, but people enjoy the filming. Like that's the thing that was maybe an unanticipated thing about the business is that the guests really enjoy doing it. Like it's nice feeling important, feeling like you've got something to do. But it is casual at the same time. Like, you know, we're not asking people to get incredible cinematic shots that are perfectly framed with brilliant lighting. They just got to hold the phone there and film the thing, basically. So people enjoy it. But the thing is, I realize that not everyone is like me. Not everybody wants to have a spreadsheet where they're like, who's doing this? This person's doing this.
Yeah.
So our website, once you made a booking on Filmed on Phones, you're able to just assign roles in there. So I could ad live and give you the role of speeches, tick that, and then add in like a phone number or an email address for you. And then that's all I, as the groom or the bride, would have to do. We, as in Filmed on Phones, then send out guidance to you to say, you've been tasked with filming the speeches at Ollie's wedding. Here's a video showing you exactly what you need to do.
I hope you make it fun rather than you. Rather than what you sound like as a groomzilla. So you did it for your own bit of fun, and you thought this is quite a good idea, and you and Shona were like, okay, maybe we could do something with this. So when was Filmed on Phones actually born?
So after the wedding, we went on our honeymoon to Canada, which was fantastic. We were there for 3 weeks, and I think 3 weeks is long enough away from work that you start like evaluating your whole life, and you're like, do I really want to go back to this office job? And so then I think it started like really forming in my mind then, and I started working on it once we got back in my spare time. And then I think it was about 2 or 3 months after that I quit my job. Kind of went all in on it.
Risky.
Yeah, risky. Maybe you could say risky. You could say stupid. You could say ambitious.
But sometimes you need the kick up the arse to do it, don't you? What about Shona? Did she?
She still works. So
she's bringing home that bacon, making sure the mortgage is paid.
She works incredibly hard, whilst I just sit here all day doing fun things like this.
Yeah, I know. Tell me about it.
So hopefully one day I'll be able to. She'll be able to join me full time as well, but we're a little way off that at the moment.
So it really hasn't actually been going that long, less than 2 years.
Yeah, just about 2 years now.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean it's gone well though. We've done, I think we must be coming up to 50 weddings now. Mm-hmm. So we did some like for free initially when we were trying to just test out the idea and get it out there. But it's growing steadily. And it works so incredibly well, like genuinely better than I ever thought it would work. Every wedding now we get over 200 clips generally, which is hours and hours of footage that tends to be.
Yeah.
And really good clips as well, like because a lot of people these days are like, you know, quite handy with the video on the phone, and most phones can film in like 60 frames per second and 4K, and like so the quality actually is good.
Yeah, you've lost me already. So let's speak practically then. If how do I find you on Instagram? I find you on the internet, whatever.
Yeah.
And then I get in touch. How does it work? Talk me through talk me through the journey.
The journey.
The journey with Ollie and filmed on phones.
On our website, you pick a package to start with, basically, which they're all the same. Apart, the only difference is the highlights film that we edit for you. So we have got a few different options. There's one that's like one song for like 2 to 3 minutes. Mm-hmm. There's one that's the classic package is like 2 songs. And then there's the extended package, which is usually 3 songs. And then it also includes like full cuts of the ceremony and speeches, the first
Do you
dance.
mean like 2 songs, 2 videos, or 2 songs, so a longer video?
A longer video, yeah. So it's the length of the video that we create, basically, that dictates the difference between the packages. With all of the packages, you book it, and then on the website you get access to this area where you can assign videography roles. We call them filmers, people that are
another
film.
Excellent original name.
Yep. Wouldn't do well in the US, but there you go.
Yes, it wouldn't be. Video. Well, they'd be videographers in the US. It's silly.
So you can assign up to 10 of them. We've got 6 roles at the moment. So getting ready. Yeah. Speeches, ceremony, first dance, cake cutting, and the party.
Nice. The essentials are covered.
The essentials are covered, yeah. So you can add up to 10 people who will then be sent guidance from us a week before your wedding. So what we recommend is you add them in there and then you speak to them yourself and say, by the way, we're using this thing called filmed on phones. Give them the basic idea of what that means, that you want them to film a part of your wedding day on their phones. Mm-hmm. And then a week before the wedding, they'll receive a text message and an email from us with a bit of guidance and a fun video telling them what to do. And then the day after the wedding, on the wedding, they film whatever they need to film. Yeah. The day after the wedding, we then get in touch with them again. So they'll get a text message and an email that says, hope you had a great day. If you can upload all your videos here, you've got a week. And they go on there, they add all their videos. It's really easy to upload them to us. They come straight to us, organised into a nice, neat little folder, ready for us to then edit them together into a video for the couple. And one thing that's worth mentioning is if you send videos on like WhatsApp or Messenger or whatever, then it actually compresses them, so they get the quality reduces every time. Right. So that's something, a problem that we had at our wedding when we were collecting them in and then we were getting the videos, but then they weren't as good anymore. So if you upload them via our website on the link on there, then they don't get compressed at all. So they come to us in like the perfect original quality. And yeah, that's.
And then how long is it till me, the bride, me and my husband, Chris Hemsworth, how long is it until we get our video that we can watch naked on a sheepskin rug?
I have listened to your podcast before because I've heard you use the Chris Hemsworth line before.
I love him. There are things that man could do.
I'm sure. So, 28 days basically. So they have a week to upload, so people aren't too stressed about that. So a week from your wedding is uploading time when people are just adding their videos, and then within 21 days from there, we edit the highlights film. Okay,
let's just give me a rough idea of cost. What are we looking at? How much am I budgeting?
So our classic package, the middle one is $399. So
it's a bargain.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's obviously a fraction of the cost of a professional. Obviously, we don't come to the wedding, so it's very different to that. Yeah, but yeah, it's I think it's a bargain. And then the mini package starts at $299. So yeah.
And would that be? How many people do you think have it purely for social media? Are the videos in that time? They're not in that time, so it's like you can be a reel.
What do you mean, sorry?
Like, so that when you edit the videos, you don't edit them down to the certain amount of time?
No. So the highlights films we just make kind of really just for people to enjoy as a video, like more like a videographer does rather than like a content creator. The couple does also get access to all the videos that have been uploaded to us, so it's good for them to just collect everything in. But generally, we find it's not really specifically for social media that people are using us, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Do you know what I would do? I'm just thinking about it. I would have you as a gift. You, Ollie, wrapped up. No, I would be like, as a wedding present, I would say to like my aunties or my uncles or my grandparents, whatever, can you all chip in and pay for this service? Because it's a very fair price.
Yeah, well, we have actually, funny you say that, we've done, I think there's been 2 weddings that were actually gifts where somebody else organised them. And then, I mean, in theory, you could do it all without the bride and groom even knowing that it was happening.
Love that idea.
I should really push that. That is a good idea.
You should
to make
push
it more
that.
of a thing. Because, yeah, everyone's filming on their phones anyway, so no one's going to notice that anything different's happened. And then 28 days after the wedding, you suddenly receive a nice video of all the best moments.
You should definitely push that, because I think that if you get you message people, or a lot of people do these QR codes now, don't they, where the guests can upload any pictures they take and then the couple have them afterwards. But even then, realistically, you're not going to be asked to sit down and make an actual video. And if you don't make an actual video, how often are you really realistically going to sit down and go through everyone else's photos once you've got the professional photos? But if someone came to me like, oh, surprise, that would be so cool. Ollie, you should definitely push that.
Yeah, no, I will do that. I'll make a note of that.
Write that down. You're welcome.
On the code, actually, as well, we do provide a QR code. You can get that in the back end of the website once you make it. So you can like put a QR code up, but then because it's not only the filmers that can upload stuff, in theory anybody can upload.
That's what I was because everyone will take something. Although you might not like this, but as a celebrant at the beginning of the ceremony, I will not always, 95% of the time I say, please don't film anything.
Well, funny actually. We did that at our wedding, so it was a no phones ceremony.
Yeah,
apart
unplugged.
From the 2 people. Because it's and photographers generally aren't that keen on that either. It kind of requires a lot of photoshopping if everyone's holding their phone up. So, although it seems to be like contradictory to what we do as a business, that is what we did, and I think it can still work. Because if you just have 1 or 2 people, they can do it quite subtly. If it's just like
Yeah, and also it always makes me laugh because I always ask my couple if they want me to say it, and they normally say yes because, like you say, you paid a lot of money for a photographer, and then they're going to take photos of the important bits with everyone's bloody phones out. But there is always one. There's always one who'll look at me and give me a wink and be like, "Shh, it's all right, I'm allowed." Really? Are you, Aunt Sally? Because you're the reason that I'm even saying this. Yeah. There's always going to be 1 or 2 people on their phones, isn't there?
Yeah, it's unavoidable, I think, people these days.
So, okay, I have questions for you. I didn't realise that you assigned roles, which I think is a good thing, because my main concern at 4:00 this morning when I was awake was, what if they don't get any footage?
Yeah, well, that's...
Or what if only the footage you get is shit?
Yeah, well, it hasn't happened yet. But the roles is what makes the difference there. It's and we can see, because you don't have to add 10 people. We do recommend you use all of them. Because it's when people add 10 filmers, then that's when we get 200 to 300 clips every time. And, that makes my job harder, but ultimately better.
And different angles as well. You don't want them all sat together the whole time.
Yes, yeah. If you don't do that, then you won't get anywhere near as much. When we very first launched, I was obsessed with the QR code thing, so we actually provided physical cards that you could put out and people can scan them to upload footage, but we found we actually barely got anything doing that, or not as much. You get much more by using the filmers. So it's a difficult thing, the filmers, because it's when I'm trying to explain the idea of the business, I've still not got it really nice and concise, I don't think, because the filmers section is so important to making it work. And that's 100%. Why it works well. But it's kind of like long-winded to explain and a bit tedious. But it's to explain, but it's actually really easy for the couple to just add the friends in, and then it guarantees that it works really well.
But I would struggle very much choosing who the filmers should be, and especially the party, because everyone's pissed by then.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's usually one or two pregnant people, so they're
Tell me
the
about it.
perfect option. But actually, I was editing a video yesterday, and it's fantastic when the people filming the party are pissed, because there was a girl going around just sticking the camera in people's faces, and she was just like, ah! And then they're like, ah! And everyone's just going wild, and it makes such good content. So as long as they remember to do it. But also, when people are pissed is when they start getting their phones out and filming everything. Like, it's just like an instinct, I think. So
I do really like it when I've seen it when you have like people like stick their phones in your face and then they do like a wish, like a well wish, or, you know, hi, great party, congratulations. And they have little clips of all of their guests sending them well wishes. I do enjoy that.
So that actually leads on very nicely to...
Oh, Ollie, I didn't even know. I was providing you with a segue.
Yeah, no, perfect. We do a guest book package, which is only £99. £99. It's very easy for us to edit, which is similar concept overall, but it's specifically focused around creating a video guest book. So you go around asking people to give a message for the bride and groom, or maybe marriage advice, or just well wishes, whatever they want. And then we edit all that together within 24 hours of receiving everything. So that you assign one or two people to just video guest book stuff. And then, they let us know once they've uploaded everything, and then we edit it in 24 hours, because it's very easy to edit. Obviously, it's just messages and stuff.
That's brilliant, because I would see now, if it was me, I would make it a stationary activity. So I would set up a camera on a tripod with like a sign, and I would maybe assign like a 14-year-old cousin or something.
Yeah. That would work well.
Because they tend to not drink. And
no, true.
They like to feel important. That's very good. I like that very much.
Yeah, and because that's something that our friends did at our wedding. They just started going around and asking people, like, do you have a message for us? And that from our wedding video, that's actually my favourite part of it, is all those messages, because it's just nice hearing like nice things about yourself. And
who doesn't love that?
Yeah. And when we do the really quick turnaround as well, with the idea that you might be on your honeymoon and then you get a video with all these messages from your wedding day of your friends just telling you how brilliant you are and what a great day they've had. Oh my God,
I love that. Can I do that? How can I do that? I want my own guest book.
You'd have to get married again. Are you married?
Yeah, but there's always time for more. There's always, I've got big plans. I love that idea. And actually, you're right. The quick turnaround, nowadays people expect a quick turnaround with everything, don't they?
Yeah.
And that is a lovely thing, because I always think that especially an at-home wedding, the next days can often be even better than the wedding day, when you're chatting about it and you're finding out what happened and the gossip and who was drunk and all that stuff. So then if you head straight off on your honeymoon or what have you, to have something come back and be like, oh my God, I can't believe she said that, or I liked her dress, or that would be so lush.
Yeah.
Oh, aren't you clever?
I like to think so.
So I was going to ask, but you've sort of already explained it, the main difference between you and a content creator.
Mm-hmm.
So a content creator, for those listeners who don't know, is basically someone, I suppose the main difference is they go to the wedding, but it's someone who goes to a wedding and they will film all sorts of different bits on their phone, and then they will make a reel. I suppose, again, they're kind of almost entirely for social media. But how would you define yourself compared to them?
Yeah, so obviously, as you say, the main difference is you actually have a person that comes to your wedding with a content creator. And it's, tends to be much more focused around social media and creating specific content for TikToks and Reels and that sort of thing. You can kind of get that from what we do, because you get all the raw content as well. So you can make your own Reels and stuff from what people upload. I guess another thing is there's not, with our service, there's no limit to what you can upload. So it starts from well, sometimes if people have like wedding weekends, it can actually be content from across the whole weekend. But typically from like getting ready at 6 a.m. in the morning right through to like 1 a.m. when everyone's drunk and ready to go home.
Oh, it's a long day.
It is a long day. So yeah, I guess you get a bit more coverage, and also the kind of different perspectives of different guests. Like we recommend using filmers from different sides of the family, different friend groups, so people are like a lot more mishmashed, and you get
that's a clever idea. Yeah, because I thought, it's almost like having them all sit next to each other. You don't want that. You want them to be all over the wedding.
Absolutely. And I think another benefit of what we do is that friends tend to know, or family members or whatever, your guests know which moments are particularly important to you. So they'll, that things that a content creator or a videographer might struggle to capture because they wouldn't realize if one particular like part of the wedding had some special meaning or whatever, whereas your friends are kind of guaranteed to know that.
And also you get to sit on your ass at home the whole time.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's great for me. I don't have to go anywhere. We're nationwide, well, international, really.
Yeah, the world's your oyster, Ollie, because you're not leaving Southport, Stockport, Southampton, wherever you are.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's kind of great. Obviously, there's no limit. Like, we had 3 weddings in one day over summer. So that's good for us in that we can, do multiple at a time.
Yeah.
It's also a downside, though. It's a little bit harder for me to, like, forge a relationship with the couple because I don't go and meet them. I do book in a call with them after they have made a booking so that I can get to know them a little bit and answer any questions.
But actually, you say that, and I think it's always nice to get to know the people who are helping you out on your wedding day. But, and I mean this with the utmost respect, they don't need to know you, Ollie. Because you're not there. So I always say to people when they pick a photographer, videographer, wedding planner, there are certain suppliers, and I always say to my couples, you have to like them because they're in your face, they're there on the day, they're around you. You have to like their vibe, enjoy hanging out with them. You have to like them, but they don't have to like you, Ollie, because you're not there.
No.
But
I can be as horrible as I want.
You can be an absolute wanker and they'll be fine. But they do like their guests. So actually, you cut out the middleman. So you're already going to get the warmth that a photographer who's really good at his job and gets to know the couple really well and gets the warmth through the photos. You're going to get that warmth through the clips. It's just because they're done by guests that the couple know and trust, clearly.
Yeah.
Very clever. We're really unraveling this business, and every layer is a surprise.
So much to it.
There is so much to it. I think, and I'm sure you agree with me, I always tell people to advise people to do some kind of video, whether that is a videographer, content creator, or filmed on phones by Ollie and Shona. Yeah. It just feels different watching a video back than it does looking at photos.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we find a lot, I imagine with most wedding suppliers, you can tell me, do people book you way in advance? Like, are you taking bookings now for 2026? Yeah. Whereas most of our bookings actually come very last minute.
Yes, I can imagine.
We had one yesterday that's getting married on Saturday. But probably most people book us about a month or 2 months before their wedding. And I think that's because they're generally people that have decided initially they're not going to have a videographer for whatever reason. And then as the wedding gets closer, they start to think, you know what, I would like to have some video captured.
And there's money left in the budget.
Yeah. Only $399. So that's where we come in.
No, you're right. I did a wedding in the summer with a content creator person, and they said the same thing about them. They were like, people tend to book us really last minute because they're like, oh, okay, that, maybe even like you're saying with this wedding on the weekend, within a week, because so-and-so drops out, or the flowers are less than we thought, or whatever. We have 500 quid left in the budget, might as well spend it. It's in the budget for a reason.
You're never going to regret having that extra, like the video to look back on, because it really takes you back there, doesn't it?
I don't want to sound morbid, but I saw a thing on the internet that was like, when you're at your wedding, don't forget to take a picture with like your grandparents or the old people, because they could die soon.
Yeah.
And that could be the last picture that you ever have with them.
Yeah, and what if you also had a video with Grandad? That would be perfect.
I know. One of the last ever photos with my granddad was at our wedding, and his voice wasn't captured on the video, but how lovely would that be?
Yeah, absolutely.
If you always had something to look back on.
Soon you'll be able to do it all with AI, so it won't even be necessary. But just generate Grandad's voice and put it over the top. It's a good point. Definitely.
You're never going to regret having it. What is difficult, and it's something I'm going to talk about in a future episode, is all these little extras. It's difficult because you can't, unless you've got a never-ending budget, and even if you have, you shouldn't spend it all. You can't have everything.
No.
But it is the little bits. You don't regret it, do you?
No. I mean, I think of all the couples we've done videos for, I'd like to think none of them have regretted using us. They've all been very happy with the results.
So what's the 5-year plan, Ollie? Shona's going to quit her job. You're going to have an office in the house, maybe a dog, some kids running around, filmed on phones. It's going to go global.
You've pretty much summed it up.
That's it. I've done it.
That would be perfect. Yeah. I mean, I should probably have a 5-year plan. I don't have it set in stone, but just growing as much as possible, doing as many videos as we can.
How long does it take you to edit a standard with 10 filmers and 200 clips? And when you say 200 clips, is that like 30 seconds or a minute, or is that like half an hour of each clip?
Well, it varies. There'll be lots of like 10-second clips, and then there might be like a half-hour clip of a speech
ceremony.
So but it tends to be a few hours worth of footage. Fortunately, due to the miracle of technology, we're able to organize all the clips into chronological order, like without having to do anything, because it's all kind of in the data from the phones.
Oh, clever.
So we can get it all in the timeline, because that was the initial problem I had, was
I bet it was
doing it, and I was trying to organize them. Then I eventually realized I could basically do it automatically. So it's I don't know, probably it varies obviously from wedding to wedding how much footage we get, but on average it's probably like a day. To make
tidy.
Yeah, not too bad.
You're really living the life, aren't you? What have you got on later? You just hanging out?
We're moving house at the moment, so that's a whole load of stress, but
I'll let you off then. I think it's a brilliant idea, and actually, like I say, with the cost, it's a very reasonable extra budget-wise to have something quite lovely. And now I know, because like I said, my main concern was that you would just give the job to anyone and they'd be pissed as a newt and wouldn't do anything. If that did happen, though, would you refund me my money?
Yeah, I mean, we in theory,
if you've got nothing to edit.
Obviously, there's no real. Our website already functions, so it doesn't really cost us to run the website. So if we don't have anything to edit, then we'd be able to just refund them very
I'm
easily.
such a journalist, aren't I? I really ask the hard-hitting questions.
Yeah, touch wood, that's never happened yet, so hopefully it won't happen.
I think it's a brilliant idea, actually. Well done, you. And I've not heard of it before. Is it a thing now? Have other people started coming out of the woodwork?
No, there's no one else that I know of that does quite what we do. I mean, it's a blessing and a curse, because it's good because it's unique. We're the only ones doing it, but it's also difficult because I always think when people first start planning their wedding, they have a list that comes straight to mind of what they want to book, which might, photographer, celebrant, venue, florist, etc. No one has on that list the film it yourself video service, because it's a bit niche.
So niche.
So the main thing that I am kind of trying to do at the moment is just get the name out there as much as possible and get the concept out there. Well,
hopefully the 3 listeners that I have on this podcast will, because I'm convinced that no one listens, even though I'm told they do. I'm convinced it's all a scam. But hopefully they will hear this episode and they will get excited and book you for all their many, many weddings. So I think it's a brilliant idea.
Yeah, that's the other problem with weddings is that people only have one. So you put all this effort into the marketing, you get a customer, they book you, but then they're not going to get married again. So,
Well, do you know this day and age?
They might. But you
But
don't.
I know what you
wish for
mean.
that.
I know what you mean, and I find it when you were talking earlier about investing in your couples and stuff and getting to know them. I find it particularly difficult because I really get to know my couples, and we become friends, and then the wedding happens, and it's like, oh, cheerio, thanks, bye.
Yeah.
I'm dead to them.
Do they at least live? Like, I guess you mostly focus locally, or you're all
No,
over?
I go all over. But I do stay friendly. I do stay friends with, especially all my brides, which is lovely. But yeah, you put all this work in, but then it's the same if you're planning your own wedding, isn't it? I suppose.
Well, yeah. I guess you meet all the suppliers, and then you feel like you're best friends, and then never see them again.
On that note,
can't end on that.
Yes, thank you, Ollie. Cheerio. You're dead to me now. Thank you so much.
The benefit of me is you don't need to get to know me.
I know we don't. Yes, filmed. I feel like I could come up with a catchphrase for you. Filmed on phones. Doesn't matter that he's a wanker. You'll get a great video. You're not lovely. All right, my darling. Well, listen. Thank you so much for coming on and chatting to me about it.
Thank you very much for having me.
I think it's very cool. And good luck with everything. Have you entered the Wedding Industry Awards? I've
not. Should I?
Don't know. That's an off-air conversation.
Yeah, they don't need to hear about it.
But good luck with everything. And I hope it just grows and grows and grows and gets bigger and bigger because I think it's fab.
Thank you very much. Lovely to meet you properly.
Take care. Okay. This week's RSVP. I have had a DM from Steve and Mark. And they write, "Hi Olivia, absolutely love the pod. Quick question for you. Even though we have said no children at our wedding next spring, it's causing," I think it meant to say drama, I misspelled that. It's causing drama with some family members and we don't quite know how to navigate it. Can you help?" Oh no. The thing is, you know how I feel about children at weddings. I don't love it. I'm sorry, I don't. It's controversial, but I don't. You've already sent the invitations. You've already said, I imagine politely, that you don't want kids at the wedding, and they're still kicking up a fuss. So my instinct is to say, it's not about you, Karen. Cousin Karen, it's not about you and it's not about your kids. We love your kids, but this is our life. I shouldn't assume, but I imagine if you're not having kids, you don't have any kids of your own. So just, when I say to couples who don't have kids of their own and they're not inviting kids to weddings, you haven't ruined your life yet. So why would you want to ruin your wedding day? Okay. I think all you can do in this situation, which is horrible and it's really common, is to say to them, whoever's causing drama about it, is to say to them, with all due respect, I understand you're upset and I'm really sorry about that, but this is our day, this is how we feel, and on this occasion, there's just no room for movement, there's no negotiation. I'm sorry. If that upsets you, I'm genuinely sorry, but this is the way it is. And if it upsets them and they're like, well, I'm not coming then, well then, fuck off. To be honest, I'll come. Okay? Save yourself some money. I think sometimes people use it as an excuse, especially if they're travelling. And also, like I've said before, if you're saying no kids at your wedding, then you do kind of have to appreciate that that might mean that one or both of the couple you've invited can't come. If they genuinely, perhaps they are in a situation where they don't have anyone who can babysit or they're not able to leave their child alone for whatever reason, then totally fair enough. So you might have to accept that, which is a bit shit, but then, swings and roundabouts, where you often find children. That sounded weird. Anywho, hope that helps. Thank you so much for listening. It really does mean the world. If you find this podcast even remotely helpful or moderately entertaining, share with all your friends and family. You can DM me any questions, queries, if you want to share any stories on the podcast Instagram at I'll Marry You Podcast. Get in touch. I want to hear all your tall tales. See you soon.
I'll Marry You is a podcast by Olivia Coleman. The music is Mr. Sunnyface by Wayne Jones, and the show is produced and edited by Drew Toynbee.